Let's talk about Yin Yoga. I want to do this series of videos to talk about the different styles of yoga, to give you a little bit more descriptive information and maybe some of the principles that apply to that style of yoga. So Yin Yoga was kind of coined in the 70s, and it's a very slow and meditative class. So before you even come to a Yin Yoga class, you should realize that you may only do about 5 to 10 poses. The reason is because you're going to hold those poses anywhere from a minute to 5 minutes, depending on the teacher and then depending on how true to the yin she wants to get. That'll be how long you hold the poses. And then some of them are more difficult for people to hold too. So, but it's all about giving your body enough time to let the ligaments, the connective tissue, tendons, scar tissue, all that stuff. It's giving the body time to actually do the work that needs to do within those areas. So I'm going to actually give you some principles of yin, or some things that you need to think about when you're doing a yin class. Don't be afraid to use props, because props in yin are important because they're allowing you to not have to go so deep within the pose. So that brings to the point the first principle. So that's finding your edge. Finding your edge is not pushing or forcing your body into any specific shape or form. It's kind of hard when you have a teacher telling you how to get yourself into position to not try to force yourself into that. But if your body's not ready for it, it's important for you to realize you can only do what your body allows you to do. And in yin especially, we're going to our edge and then we are pulling back a little bit from it. It's not about going to the most intense version of that pose or shape either. So it's kind of takes a minute to get used to, because you usually want to go the furthest into the pose. But yeah, just find your edge. So it actually allows you to learn a little bit more about your body and where your thresholds are as well. So like I said, you want to go to your edge and then pull back a little bit. You don't want to push yourself or force yourself. It takes getting some used to. So finding your edge, that's the first thing. So when I talk about finding your edge, a lot of people are kind of afraid that if I do one of these kind of classes that I'm not going to be working on my flexibility. I'm not going to increase my flexibility, but it's quite the opposite. So when you spend time in these poses, allowing yourself to kind of sit and be still, that the real work is happening, not just physically, but also mentally. Because as we all know, we are in this hustle bustle, fast-paced, instant gratification type of a society, and to just sit and do nothing, that's unheard of, right? Well, you'll get used to it and you'll actually enjoy it, and it just takes some time getting used to the way that feels, not having to do something. And a lot of people struggle with that. So I'm going to go over at the end of the video some of the things that might happen mentally. But the second principle is to be still. So I'm going into my pose, I'm finding my edge, I'm backing up a little bit from it, and I'm getting comfortable. I'm getting so comfortable in the pose that I can stay there for a long period of time without it hurting me or feeling uncomfortable. and then I'm starting to search for stillness. So like fidgeting and moving around, we want to try to slow that down and to be still. And that's another reason why having these props are important, because if I have a prop underneath me between my body and the floor, I'm not having to stretch so far over that it's causing me discomfort. Or just adding extra space in between where your body and the floor is. It makes things much easier to find that comfort level in the pose. So that's the second principle, finding stillness or being still. And the last thing is holding it. We discuss a lot in class about not trying to compare yourself to others or the teacher in the class. How it's important for you to really feel what's going on in your body so you know what's right. And that's especially important in a yin class. So once you've gone to your edge, you pull back a little bit, you found comfort and relaxation within that pose, then it's just holding it. You don't have to, especially at first, hold it for as long as everybody, but you're going to get the full benefit if you do. But I don't want you to feel like I have to stay in it this long. It's really causing me discomfort. But the big thing about that is, so the physical body is getting used to having a little bit of discomfort. But within the mind, the mental body, you are learning to stay someplace, to become aware, and pull back from something that is causing a little bit of discomfort, or what's the word I'm looking for? I'll go into the next point because that'll bring this all together. So for the mental part, there's a few things that happen whenever you're holding these poses for so long. So you could feel challenged physically or mentally. Just the fact that I'm having to sit here for so long, I just want to move. Not that it's causing your body any pain, but that it just wants to move because it's used to moving. So that's one thing that can happen. And the second is it can just be so boring to you. You're like, I feel like my body's not doing anything. There's no benefit to me. Why am I staying in this pose for so long? But it's training you to become more focused. And then the next thing is that you could be having thoughts, a lot of thoughts in your mind, and it's causing you to not be able to focus on your physical body. And so that again is training you to be more focused because you're looking within your body to become more intuitive to how you feel. And these are all common things that happen during this type of a class, and that's helping you and training your mind and helping you to find this more calm state. It's helping you to become more of a witness to what's happening into your body, so that when you go outside of your yoga practice and outside of your yoga world, that in other situations you find comfort in discomfort. It sounds odd, but it helps you to become more conscious about what's going on, where you can make a decision based on looking at the whole picture instead of reacting to it and maybe saying or doing something that you regret afterwards because you've reacted and caused a problem. You know, that you've said something you didn't mean to somebody, or you caused an extra issue because you didn't allow yourself time to breathe, to take a step back from, and just take a different perspective of it. So there's a whole aspect, there's a whole learning system that you kind of go through when you're doing one of these types of classes. And don't worry if you get in there and you fall asleep, because like when we do our classes, we do a whole yin class, which is very slow and meditative, and all you hear sometimes is just breathing and light music. And then we do a meditation. So you're super chill, you're super relaxed by the end of class. It's really awesome for people who suffer from high stress jobs, high stress lives, people who are looking for a little bit of quiet, a little bit of calmness, and ways to get to that. And it's also great for people who are having a hard time just doing a home meditation practice, because you know, a lot of people can listen to something on YouTube, a guided meditation. Some people just have a hard time with that. They rather be in a class, you know, and they're just feeling the whole atmospheric vibe of that, you know. And even sometimes at home, you can't even keep your kids from walking in the room or somebody knocking on the door where they're not bothering you and screwing up your whole vibe. So, you know, if this is something that appeals to you and you want, you know, to try to start this practice, talk to whatever studios are in your town. If you have questions, I'm always available to answer. I might not get back to you right away, but I will do my best to. And as always, feel free to comment below about your experiences in a yin class. Let me know if there's some issue that you have when you're in a yin class and you're having a hard time, and just let me know what you think. As always, please comment and subscribe. I'm just trying to help you guys find a way to find that peaceful side of you and help your, you know, de-stress your lives and whatever. So until next time, namaste.